Hey guys, and welcome to the podcast that can't be named. It's a show I'll be doing every Friday at around 5. I don't know if it's going to stay consistently at 5. This is a new project, and this is the very first episode. The very first episode I will share with the publicly. Really, this whole podcast is just me talking about what I want to talk about. Talking about whatever bothers me, whatever interests me, answering some questions about me, or just life in general. Jumping right into this episode, I'd like to make it a habit to start and end each episode with a question. Just whoever asks me a question, it could be serious, it could be funny, it could be philosophical, whatever. I'd like to answer it. So I've got a question here. If you got hit by a car, what kind of car would you want it to be? Now, the whole thing about being hit by a car is there's going to be a medical bill unless it wasn't really being hit by a car. It was you running into a car at low speeds. Now, the best car to be hit by would probably be a lower end Cadillac or BMW. And why this is because most people who have low-end Cadillacs and low-end BMWs are upper middle class people. So they have enough money that you could get a pretty big settlement from them for whatever injury that you have or whatever injury you make up or damages or whatever it may be. You can get a pretty big settlement from them because they have money for that. But if you go for more expensive cars such as a Porsche or like a higher end anything, they'll have lawyers. They'll be able to afford the better lawyers, and you won't get as much of a settlement. And you don't want anything like a Honda or a Toyota because those are pretty basic level cars, and you want the biggest payout, and Hondas and Toyotas won't be able to give you that biggest payout. And with that answer, I hope everyone is now well informed. The best cars to be hit by to get the best settlement for the best money. Moving on, I would like to speak about a topic which I am very close to, and that topic would be ASMR. Now, ASMR stands for audio sounds made for resting, and that is definitely not what those stand for. But ASMR is a widespread community. There's at least 1 million people in the world who experience ASMR, as the top ASMRist on YouTube has 1 million subscribers, or a little more than 1 million subscribers. And ASMR it's hard to explain the sensation to someone who doesn't experience it, but it's practically like getting goosebumps when you're not cold. That's probably the only explanation you can get for it. It's a feeling that like starts in your brain and can spread to like the rest of your body. And what this feeling is, it's a very like comforting feeling all around, and people who experience ASMR generally get really tired and really like enthralled in this experience. And although I do experience ASMR, it's still very strange to me. I just don't understand how someone whispering into a microphone can like make your brain feel fuzzy. It's quite weird, but it's also quite intriguing. Now, with ASMR comes ASMR videos. They're weird. They are extremely weird. Now, there's normal ones. There's normal just whispering, tapping on objects, doing whatever. But there are a strange assortment. Let me read you off some. There's one by Dr. T ASMR titled "You-O the ASMR Mafia." And in the thumbnail, it's some dude with a knife with the tag, "Gimme them tingles." It has 396,000 views. Next, there is Cloveress ASMR. I don't know how to pronounce that. Stabbing You ASMR. And it's tagged with roleplay stabbing sound. I don't understand what part of stabbing someone could be comforting, either for the stabber or the stabee. The next is pretty sad. It's by, again, Cloveress ASMR, "Breaking Up With You ASMR." The thumbnail is just some girl. I'm assuming it's Cloveress, and it just says, "Sorry, it's over." It has 182,000 views, and I don't understand what could be comforting about breaking up with someone. I just don't. The next one, oh, this one's good. ASMR Cloudy Tingles. It's a vaping ASMR. It's by Karuna Satori ASMR. I hope I said that right. And it has 112,000 views. And it was posted, but at the time of me reading this, it was posted a day ago. 1 day ago, this vaping ASMR was posted, and it has 112,000 views. And oh no, that's not even the worst of it. The next one's it's pretty normal. It's really the video that gets me. It's a cover of Blackpink. Whatever. How do you pronounce that? I'm just gonna pronounce it like that because that's all I can pronounce it by. It's an ASMR cover, so it's just a whispered song, which it's not weird. It's not that abnormal, but there's a clip, and this man, I'm probably just gonna show this on screen, but this man is in what I consume is a bathrobe with a hood, and this hood has like these little puffballs on it, and a cat over his shoulder, like a real live cat over his shoulder, and just like a blank face, just like he's staring into my soul. The last but not least, ASMR X. It has 245,000 views. I don't understand. The dude's dead, and they made ASMR about it. New rule of the internet: if something exists, there is ASMR of it. There is no other explanation. Literally, you search up anything, you look up anything, add ASMR to it, there will be a video. 100% guaranteed. Absolutely. absolutely guaranteed, absolutely 100%. Like, literally, I cannot stress this enough. This is a fact. You look up anything with anything ASMR, 100% there. Someone has already made it. You think you're original? No, someone already did it. Which, I mean, is practically real life. Speaking on subjects we are passionate about, I would like to take a moment to speak about the Disney Channel original made-for-TV movie, Zombies. This movie is High School Musical, but competent. It holds no punches. It is, although it's this like really like pastel high school, and like it's overwhelmingly pastel, and it's like goofy in all of this. It has some very interesting underlying factors to it. It's very segregation, and it holds a lot of like racial biases, except it's not between like human races, it's between humans and zombies, is like the race gap, which I think is a very interesting way to come about it. It's a very interesting way to kind of not exactly sugarcoat it, but an easier to swallow pill, especially for like a younger audience, that like you accept someone who they are, not because of how they look or what the past was or whatever it may be that other people are judging them for. And so like the two, it's kind of weird because they don't call, like, it's not like, oh, you're either on the zombie side or you're the human side. You're on the zombie side or the cheerleader side, which is strange to me because can't there just be a zombie cheerleader? Apparently not. But so I would like to read you. This has 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, by the way. Although all the Google users rated this 96%. 96% of Google users like this movie. And so the plot is, I'm reading this off of this is IMDb or is it Google? I don't know. Google reviews or IMDb, whatever it is. A zombie and a cheerleader work together to show the town of Seabrook what they can achieve when they embrace the differences and celebrate what makes them a community. Now, it's an alright movie. I have to say though, the plot, the music, the overarching story, 100% better than High School Musical. This is like High School Musical, but written well. Like, High School Musical is just like, oh, I'm a dude, and I like theater, but then I also like sports. How's that gonna work? But Zombies is like, okay, I'm this outcast in the school, they hate all of what my people are. How do I show them that I'm a good person, and how do I help out this school and show this town that, like, I'm someone, and also I met this person who is from, like, it's like a Romeo and Juliet story. It's like, I'm Capulet, and then there's the Montague, and then, like, we fall in love, except no one dies in the end, I think. But it's actually quite interesting. My dad absolutely hates this movie. He hates how it's pastel, which, I mean, he calls it the pastel high school movie, which I think is hilarious. But it is quite, like, it's obviously, like, it's kind of hurting to the eyes. Like, it's just, like, these bright green and pink, and that's it. Those are the two colors in the movie. Bright green and bright pink. And it honestly hurts to look at through a lot of the movie. But that doesn't take away too much from the movie. I am going to be reading some reviews. let's go and read some IMDb reviews. As I don't know, it's IMDb. What do you expect? Critics reviews. Let's see that. And oh my gosh, there are a lot. I don't even know what's happening. Oh, IMDb hasn't even reviewed this. They just have links to other review. What? Okay, this is IMDb. Just a real hankering in my side here. Let's just read some user reviews. Okay, so ZTB92783 on, I don't understand why that's a username at all. On March 8th, 2018, rated it 7 out of 10 stars. Better than Descendants 2, more effort in the acting and dancing and story. They say, this movie, when I saw the preview at first, I had low expectations. I thought it was going to flop. However, after watching the premiere, I actually really liked it. Smiley face. The characters were really likable. Even the antagonist/villain was likable. There was a lot of diversity in this movie, which was the main message of the movie from the start. The next by Kay Coots on the 18th of February 2018 stated that they loved it. I very much enjoyed the movie. I am 14. I don't know why that's necessary. And even I enjoyed the plot and development of the entire thing. The movie has a lot of older human and idealistic attitudes to it that I much enjoyed. It feels as if the whole movie was a more childish take on racism and personal values on being different and taking pride in who you are as a person. Since it has come out, I have watched it a total of 3 times, 2 of which were the premiere night. Kayleigh Coots, why would you... This person watched it twice in the same night. In the same premiere night. What? Why would you do that? Okay, let's see if I can find a bad review. Oh, here's one. Here's one that doesn't even have a star. This just says it's garbage by Bethany Granage. Garbage. The entire film is a slower version of every other movie Disney Channel puts on with some below-average dance numbers to mask the absolute atrocious acting. My bad. The plot is so similar to Descendants, it's ridiculous. And, my god, the zombies, they look like rejected jokers. No effort put into them at all. This movie is 100% tosh. I don't know what that means. Do not waste your time. So, this person just didn't like it because it was a made-for-TV Disney movie. I don't know what you expect. Let's see if I can find a... Oh, here's another review. Oh my gosh, this is so long. Okay, well, we're just gonna read it. The only time... Okay, wait. This is by Dennis Dolan Phantom. Alright. The only time I ever wanted to punch a hole through my TV. Warning. Spoilers. Okay. So I guess they do have spoilers. Spoilers. I don't know if there is spoilers because it's a pretty basic plot. It's a made-for-TV Disney movie. It's like A to B to C to D. Happy ending. Like, how do you spoil a Disney movie? I don't understand that. Like a made-for-TV Disney movie. Warning. Spoilers. This review might seem a little harsh. However, that doesn't mean that it is not true. I am usually very positive when I review movies. So what? As negative as this review may appear, I do like to give most movies. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I almost just threw up. benefit of the doubt. However, it took me 3 separate views to find anything I can even consider passable. Why would... If you didn't like the movie once, why would you watch it 2 other times? Like, even if it's, like, with your kids, just, like, zone out. Like, be on your phone. Why are you watching this movie more than once if you hate it? Okay, anyways, let's start with what I find passable with the movie. Probably the most passable thing in the movie is the couch of... I said couch. The couch of Zed's team. The character is almost like something out of a... What? Does he mean coach? I think they mean coach. The coach of Zed's team. The character is almost like something out of a Kevin Hart or Tyler Perry movie. His character is self-deprecating and aware of just how pathetic he is. Man, aren't we all? He's also over the top and clearly not taking this seriously. However, he never truly reaches anything above passable. Dang. This dude's already, like, self-deprecating. He's like, yeah, he's even more terrible. No, let's get... This person... So many spelling errors. No, let's get into the things I find bad about this movie. And rest assured, there is a lot of things. But to keep things relatively streamlined and to keep me from explode in a mixture of rage and violence, I'll start with the production design. It's made for TV Disney movie. Are you really about to question their production design? Like, the production design looks like it was done in an afternoon with whatever they could find laying around the sound stage. The colors of the sets include pastel pink and blue. Okay, I know it's not blue, it's green because of the fighting shrimp. And they're pink and green. Get it right, random reviewer, I don't even know what your name is. The color of the sets include pastel pink and green, not blue, that don't sever any purpose whatsoever. The makeup makes the zombies look like they're amateur cosplayers dressing up as the Joker for Comic-Con. It's a made-for-TV Disney movie. Next, I'm going to talk about the acting. Once again, made-for-TV Disney movie. Apart from the couch, they spelled coach wrong a second time. Apart from the couch, none of the performances reaches anything above serviceable. Zed, the lead male of the film, is a zombie who wants to join the football team. He barely seems like he cares throughout the movie. I think they meant throughout. Clearly have fun and letting too much of himself into the character. What? I don't even know. I can't, like, put the right words in there. There's also Addison, the female lead of the movie, who is a human hoping to become a cheerleader. She appears to be trying really hard throughout the entire movie. However, this combination isn't very good at all, not to mention that their on-screen chemistry, not symmetry, can best be described as two people who were told early that morning that they would fall in love. What? On-screen I don't know if this person thinks this is like a real movie. They're going way too much in. Like, this would be a review I would expect from IMDb on a truly terrible, like, A-list Hollywood movie. That's like the only amount of effort I would put into that. Anyways, there's also Bucky, Addison's cousin, who is also the captain of the cheerleaders. He is constant flipping. What? He is constant flipping from coked out maniac and wind stump throughout the movie. And then there's everyone else, whom are basically the same. That doesn't work. They tried to be grammatically correct with whom. Whom are basically the same as Bucky. Then there is the writing and story, which is probably my least favorite aspect. The messages and themes, while definitely good and important, are delivered with the all of the subtlety, he didn't so subtly, right, of a sledgehammer being swung towards a house made of glass. Not a single line is clever or service the story in a unique way. And the message of the film appears to be, we call all solve racism by cheering. If only Malcolm X or Frederick Douglass K knew, not like K-N-E-W, N-E-W, like I bought something new at the store, that all he needed to do was cheer. There are other things that are terrible about this movie, but I don't have the time or the patience to describe them. You wrote a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to count that one as 9 because that should be 2 paragraphs. You wrote a 9-paragraph complaint about this movie, and you're like, no, I don't have any more time. No. Waste of my time. Whole movie. Waste of my time. Everything. What? Oh, never mind. Basically, everyone else is just saying that it's. Wait. Thomas998. Parents beware. This one is worse than most Disney movies. Much worse. That's their title. 3 out of 10 stars. Okay, this one's just like 2 paragraphs. While the movie may have been made by the same people who created Descendants, yeah, Disney, it comes off as something that was thrown together way too quickly by people who had no clue what they were really doing. While Descendants had Kristen Chenoweth, I don't even know who that is, give some support to the musical side, this stink has all the quality of your local high school musical done by rejects. Wow. For the love of God, the lip syncing was so horrible. I was also left wondering if some of the actors were actually singing, or if it was someone else doing the singing for them. It was hard to tell because some of the vocals were so overprocessed. It was the equivalent of cheese in a can. These people's analogies and grammar are A+. I give it an A+ rating. I would like to say at least your kids will like it because that was the only reason I watched it. That makes sense. I watched this movie with my kids. It was horrible. I'm writing a review about it. Not the other dude who was like, I watched this 3 times, no mention of kids, worst movie. This is an A-list Hollywood movie, correct? I am being paid to do this, correct? Because, oh my gosh. Anyways, I would like to say at least your kids will like it because that was the only reason I watched it. Figured for a family night movie, not movie night, it would at least keep the 2 kids happy. ... Nope. ... They found the entire movie to be so bad that they spent most of the time pointing out the problems with this movie. Highly doubt. So if you are thinking of using this as a family flick for the family, think twice. Maybe if your kids are under the age of 10, they would enjoy it, but any older, and they won't. Okay, but... Uh-oh. Okay, Jason Francis 1276. Nothing, I'm just skipping all the good reviews because let's be honest, this movie is good. Nothing good on Disney. This just puts the stupidity it feeds the youth to a new level. You know someone was just mad that they tried to pull any social justice aspect into this movie. They were like, nope, no, nope. Okay, here's a good review, but it's Suzy Nyami Badge, and then the name cuts off. 9 out of 10 stars. Why you are differences are your, spelled right, greatest strengths. A very nice movie spelled I, like M-O-V-I-Y, to watch with your family. Great message. That message is missing an S, about accepting others and differences. Because our, oh no, that's all right. Differences make us who we are. So be yourself. The funniest thing, they spelled your like 4 other times and then didn't notice that the first your was missing anything. That's one of my favorite things, is when either someone spells it wrong multiple times, or when someone spells it wrong once and then right like 5 other times before or after that. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Why are there so many people, like, all the people who think it's good give like a sentence like, this movie is good, my kids liked it, cool message. All the people who said it was bad gives like 3-paragraph essays like, okay, this movie is bad because A, B, and C, and also A, and then also blah 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 blah. It's a made-for-TV. Okay, in a way, I should have expected this. I'm not the target demographic of this movie, and sure, babies could enjoy this movie for the bright colors and dancing the kids. Oh, and dancing but kids move. Either way, that sentence doesn't make sense. And dancing but kids movies should be better than this. The music made me want to never hear again. It's terrible. I don't want to hear again. That music, I'm deaf now. And the makeup and the hair looked like a baby had done it blindfolded. It wasn't that bad. It was just simple. It wasn't, because they didn't do like Walking Dead zombie makeup. Like, I think that's why people are mad about the makeup, is it just looks like they're like super like pale and like have like black around their eyes, like black rings around their eyes to be like sunken in. And then people are like, no, it doesn't look like Walking Dead, so it's automatically terrible. And again, sure, young children could understand the whole message of tolerance, but it is so on the nose. The ham-fisting this message becomes insulting. What? It's like the whole plot of the movie, and they're like, you know what? I don't like the plot of this movie. It's too straightforward. Anyways, ham-fisting. I don't think I've ever heard that. Like, I don't understand where that term came to be. I don't understand why people use that term, more or less. Them ham-fisting this message becomes insulting. If you have kids who are old enough to ask cognitive questions, this movie had them asking a lot. I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to ask them questions about if they're keeping kids out, and like if they're like discriminating. It's supposed to be like, oh, these people are people no matter what. It's not supposed to be like, oh, okay, cool movie. There's a lot of dumb Disney Channel movies. Okay, they get it. I can get behind, because even though they are dumb and the message is on the nose, it is still fun and entertaining. This movie just had me yelling at the screen. Are you serious? You seriously... I like to imagine during the football scene parts, he was like yelling at the screen, like, touchdown! Like, he got really into it over something. This movie had me yelling at the screen, and it gave me a big headache, because you were yelling at the screen. The thing with Disney Channel movies is you have to take them at face value. And everyone here is saying, oh, it's 2 at face value. I wonder how much it cost to make this movie. And it gave me a big headache, because nothing makes sense, and all the questions you have about big plot points never are answered for some reason. Also, did you know Disney once rejected this as a TV show 5 years ago? Makes sense, because this idea should have stayed like that. Rejected. I'm going to look up how much it cost to make this movie. Wikipedia probably has me. Wikipedia is a reliable source, kids. Always use it for your homework. I don't even know who any of these people are who did anything in this movie. It was... And they don't have a prize for this. Maybe if we go to Disney ABC Press. Okay, they have nothing on here. Great, that's good. Okay, so I don't know how much they made this movie. It couldn't have been over $2 million. Sharknado was made for like $1 million, right? And like that. I mean, this. I don't think this. Did this movie have any special effects? No. And the effects on Sharknado were awful. But they made the whole entire movie for $1 million. That's impressive. Oh, do you know what's also a great, like, C-list movie, I think it'd be called? Is it C-list? Wait. I'm just gonna call it C-list because I don't know if it goes any lower. But one of the best movies of all time, Who Killed Captain Alex? It is one of the best movies ever in existence. This movie was made in 2010, or at least was released in, like, to America in 2010, and it was made in Uganda. It was made on a budget of $200. They made this with $200, and I'm pretty sure one camera. They filmed this with one camera and $200. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the film is now on YouTube. They didn't expect this movie to get out of. They didn't expect this movie to get out of their town in Uganda. They didn't expect this movie to go anywhere. They posted the trailer on YouTube, and it has been, as of May 2018, which was last month, it was viewed 2.2 million times. Just the trailer. It has 2.2 million views. The trailer does. And I'm pretty sure the actual film is now on. I'm gonna throw up some photos of this movie while I'm talking about this. It's like a little over an hour long. You do yourself a favor. Once you're done with this video, go look up Who Killed Captain Alex. I'm almost certain. Let me check. I'm almost certain. Yeah, the whole thing is on YouTube, and it doesn't have any. It has English subtitles and something called a video joker, which is basically just someone commentating over the whole movie, so you know what's going on. Basically, it's like they're basically just there so you understand what's going on because you don't speak whatever language it is that they speak. Yeah, it's a video joker, and the reason that they have a video joker is because that's the only version you can find is with a video joker. Is because the original copy of the film was, I forgot. I've heard it both ways. I forgot which one of them were right, but it was either that the person who made it didn't think it was going to work, so they deleted the original copy off their hard drive to make space for more movies, or it was like some power outage or some like corruption of the file that that disrupted the movie. But it's 68 minutes long, a little over an hour, and there's a Tiger Mafia or something. I think it's the Tiger Mafia. Yeah, Tiger Mafia and this top military soldier named Captain Alex. And there's like, you don't even know what's going on in the film, but you can tell everyone in this film had an amazing time filming it. That's the thing. If a movie can be bad but be good at the exact same time, it's like you can tell people poured themselves into this movie, and this was the life and blood was this movie. And like, it's pretty amazing because like the props is like, some of the guns are like one wooden bar put through another wooden bar, and that's the gun. And like, I'm pretty sure they wear like scuba gear, like, or snorkeling gear at one time to be like special agent gear, and it's so good. It's where like memes like the Ugandan knuckle memes came. It's where the Ugandan knuckle memes came from, which is probably the worst part about this movie, is the Ugandan knuckle memes came out of this. And I love this movie. Honestly, I love this movie. This is on my top 10 favorite movies, is this movie. This is one picture, and I'm putting it up now. It's this dude, and he's holding out a gun, and I forgot what it was. But it was something like, "How dare you still alive?" And although you can hardly understand this movie, it's one of the best. It's what filmmaking was meant to be. It was what films were meant to be. Just full fun. Just absolute, just having a fun time, doing what you love. And like, I'm so glad I found this movie and that this movie was even made, because it is honestly one of the best movies I have ever seen. Rolling with the topic of movies, I have a question. Which is better, Ghostbusters 1 or Ghostbusters 2? Now, this question is actually really hard, and it's going to take some time to explain everything. But I'd have to say Ghostbusters 1, as without Ghostbusters 2, or without Ghostbusters 1, there would be no Ghostbusters 2. Which is kind of unfair to Ghostbusters 2, but that's just how origins work. You can't... It's like if you tried to release it Back to the Future 2 before Back to the Future 1. Because the thing is, Back to the Future 2 is a huge fan of Back to the Future 1, that if you tried to release Back to the Future 2 first, no one would... No, you wouldn't even get permission to... You wouldn't get funding for the movie. It's the whole thing about setting up a plot, setting up characters, setting up something that people are familiar with, and then going for the crazy storylines and like the really amazing effects, and something that like you could do more, you could push more, because people are more comfortable with the setting. People understand the universe, at least a little bit, with like Back to the Future 2. And that's what really helps out Ghostbusters 1, is it explains to you what it is, but in explaining, it doesn't bore you. It does a good job of keeping up with the action, and also because you kind of go through it with the Ghostbusters, is like you kind of just show up and they're all kind of run down. They don't really have any work. Half their work is like psychology and like trying to figure out if ghosts exist, and like they can't really get grants, they can't really get anything, and this dude has to take out like another mortgage on his house just to start the Ghostbusters. And I think that's really something relatable, is they try to start this business from nothing, and that really helps out Ghostbusters 1 too. And another thing that helps out Ghostbusters 1 is that it's just all around a good time. Like, even the final battle, it's just like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And it's just kind of like they're fighting a giant Marshmallow Man, and then that's it. Like, that's all you need to know for that. But then, like, in the end of Ghostbusters 2, it's like, okay, they're in the Statue of Liberty, piloting it by playing music with this goo, and they're going to this bubble where this person is that one of them was dating or married, or I don't actually know. And then they're going to this museum, and there's this dude from like 1,000 years ago. And the thing is that Ghostbusters 2 explains that, but when Ghostbusters 2 explains that, they don't do it as well as Ghostbusters 1. Because you can't, when you take Ghostbusters 1 and just give them the ending, and take Ghostbusters 2 and just give them the ending, automatically Ghostbusters 1 makes just a tad bit more sense. It just seems a lot more familiar, and that's the whole thing with Ghostbusters 2, is now that they have this familiar setting of Ghostbusters 1, they can move on to Ghostbusters 2. And one more thing about Ghostbusters 1 is when they set up what a proton pack is, how they collect ghosts, how ghosts work, you have fun experiencing that, because the actors or the people they are playing are going through that as well. They're learning what to do. They're learning the best ways to do this. They're learning the best ways to trap ghosts. They're, especially like with the museum, is their first time doing anything, and you kind of go with this like whole thing that like we don't know how these proton packs work. Like the traps like may or may not work. Like we don't know what this one thing is. Like we kind of know because we studied ghosts, but that's it. Like we don't know what this little green blob that eats everything is. And the thing is that that's so much of a better environment to teach things to people, is when you're not only teaching the audience, but you're teaching the characters. Because that makes the audience feel a lot better, and it deals with a lot more involvement with the audience, because the audience gets to experience what the Ghostbusters are experiencing. And that's the problem a lot of people have with like opening narration or opening text or just starting a movie with a quote. It's because you don't actually experience that. And it's a thing with like Romeo and Juliet. Like, you are told in this prologue that there's these ruling families, they've been at war with each other, but you don't get to see what starts that war. You just get to see the aftermath of it, which, the thing about that is that Shakespeare is like this brilliant dude, and although I think we give him way too much credit, I think he's a good writer, but I think we spend too much time on one man. I feel like there's a lot more people that we could spend time on during his time period, because like when we learn about sonnets, it's all Shakespearean sonnet. But like there's Italian sonnets which carry a lot more depth and things, and have like differences to Shakespearean sonnets. But anyways, back to the whole thing is that it can be good to, instead of showing just the beginning, you just give them what's happened. The whole thing with like, it's kind of like Mad Max. Like, you don't really, like, you kind of get an understanding of how the world plunged into chaos, but you're kind of just like, okay, this dude was just kind of here now, and he has to deal with it, which can be really interesting, because then you don't have to deal with the whole front end, but you have to do it right. You can't start throwing, because the thing with Mad Max is they don't start throwing you into something that, oh, that doesn't make any sense. They start throwing you into something that's like, okay, yeah, that would make sense if the world did go post-apocalyptic. That makes sense. But the thing with like Ghostbusters 2 or Back to the Future 2 is that suddenly in Back to the Future 2, there's this flying car and it can travel, and like they're in this random place and we don't know who this dude is or who this girl is, who is this dog. Like, who's the dog? Like, who's anyone in that movie? You don't know. And the whole thing with Ghostbusters 2 is it falls under that same thing. And it's like, who is this guy? Like, we know that these two had like a relationship in the past, but we don't know how far that went. Well, I mean, the girl was a baby, so I guess that's not a really good example. But like, we don't know like what happened. We don't know like how these guys met. We don't know. Especially the problem with sequels is that you have to watch the original, except for really Star Wars. The whole thing with Star Wars is it does such a good job of, it already plunged you into this world of like absolute, just like, okay, we're in a different galaxy. We're in a different galaxy, we're in a different time. We obviously have no idea what is happening. All we know is that these people are talking and stuff. And the whole thing with the original trilogy is, especially the first and the second movie, that those did really well. The first and the second, I'm talking about A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. A New Hope, of course, it like introduced us to all the characters, but then Empire Strikes Back, you could really just get into that. You could really see that, like, okay, this dude's Han, this dude's Luke, this dude's Leia, this is Chewbacca, he's a dog man. Okay, they're in space. Okay, this happened. Oh my gosh, Darth Vader's Luke's dad. And it's like, oh my gosh, Luke has like these awesome force powers. But honestly, you could watch that movie without watching A New Hope and pretty much understand a lot. Now, the problem with that, though, is that New Hope didn't delve into anything that would, in the aftermath, you have to know. Which is kind of a problem for Empire Strikes Back, because it doesn't know where to go from Empire Strikes Back. Because A New Hope was like, okay, cool, we're done. The only thing we're giving you is that we blew up the Death Star and Darth Vader is not dead. And all the heroes are alive. That's the only thing it gave you. So A New Hope, or not New Hope, Empire Strikes Back didn't know where to jump off. And that's why I feel like it did such a good job of not being so intertwined with its predecessor. It did such a good job of, okay, we didn't really have anywhere that we could be from point A to point B, so we're building, or we didn't know, so we have point A and we have point C, and the point B is we don't know, so we're just not going to fill that in and go to point C, and you instantly just plunge back into the Star Wars world, or Star Wars galaxy, I guess, and you automatically just like, okay, this is a good time. Like, there's a couple things. The only thing really is that the whole meshing of characters, which totally tells you that they have a background, and then Ben telling Luke to go to Dagobah. Those are the only two things, really the only two things that could tell you that, oh yeah, there was another movie. Okay, of course there's a lot more other things, but those are the two things to start with that are like, okay, wait, there was another movie to this. It didn't start you with, and I guess you can kind of get away with this with the opening crawl, but I don't actually remember the opening crawl of any of the Star Wars movies. It's not something that's memorable. It's something that's like, oh, every Star Wars movie has an opening crawl, but it's never something like, oh, the opening crawl is needed for the Star Wars movie. It's never like that. And I kind of like how a Star Wars story, like a Star Wars story, which I'm so sad those got delayed, which I think is really bad because I can get into this later. I'm almost out of time. But I think it's so sad that the community is boycotting so much that we are getting less Star Wars movies because of it. But to end off, I just think that it's such a good way is that Star Wars does not fall, at least the first and second movies, does not fall into the trauma of there was a first movie, okay, this is obviously the second, such as Ghostbusters did, and such as Back to the Future did, especially Back to the Future 3. You have absolutely no idea what's going on there either. But that's why Ghostbusters 1 has to be better than Ghostbusters 2, because without Ghostbusters 1, there is no way you could get Ghostbusters 2. And so I'm going to wrap up the video here. Leave a comment down below how you like this video, and like, subscribe, do whatever, do all of that if you wish. I'm really just glad to be doing this and to be out there. And I hope you join me next Friday for another episode of the podcast that can't be named. Next episode, we will be talking about the fan base of Star Wars, so that's going to be a great episode. So, tune in next time.